Hello. Hoopa. I am hyper. I am wired. I'm in a good mood though. Oof. It's been a day. My doctor's appointment went exceptionally well. I really like my probable neurosurgeon. He was very, very nice. Is the primary word that comes to mind to describe him. He was very, very, very nice. And considering he has an extremely famous dad, I was pleasantly surprised. No, I am not telling you who he or his father is right now. I'm just saying he has an incredibly famous dad, and he was one of the nicest doctors I have ever met. I am thrilled. Come hang. My computer is being laggy. This is weird. Weird. Today, ooh, gurgle. My tummy. All right. I'm just doing the click throughs and, sending messages saying, hey, this is what I'm doing. There they are. Now I just got away from. Yeah, computer is definitely laggy. I have a feeling once I'm done with the podcast tonight, I am going to be rebooting my computer. That's what I thought. Podcast. Oh yeah, definitely laggy. This should be the last one I need to talk to. Should be. What's up, cat? What's up, fuzzy butt? Am I talking too much? Too bad, because I'm going to be talking for the next little while. And I think I just put 2 F's in witchcraft. But I can't see. I did. Yeah, I am not happy with the way my computer is behaving. Getting grumpy. Getting very grumpy. Yep. All right. We are good now. Oh, hello. Boo, boo, boo. Oh, that's right. Bummer. Okay. All right. I smell my perfumes. Right. All right, there we go. Yep, computer's being insanely laggy, and it's starting to piss me the fuck off. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I don't think I have. Okay, I don't have much extra open today, so it should not be being super duper laggy, but it is. I'm getting grumpy. There you are. Hold on, I'll get the link for you. I just. There it is. Clickety click. Like that. Like that. I swear I'm going to beat my computer into submission. There you go. Okay. So apparently Kat will be coming in as a guest here in a minute. All right, move the key. In a minute. Move that. Hello, Luna girl. There we go. So, modern witchcraft. Oh, life, the universe, and everything. Right, right. Good, good. Happy. Enjoy. Oh, oh, I don't like that. No. Keep the chat. There we go. Okay. Playing with things on my screen. Don't mind me. Here we go. So, witchcraft has gained a huge popularity recently. It has gone from, being kept on the down low, hush hush, nobody talks about it, to, we're out and proud these days. Very popular subject. You can find books on witchcraft sold at your local Barnes and Noble. You can search books on witchcraft on Amazon. Hell, I've bought a bunch of my craft books on Amazon myself. So, hey, pretty freaking cool. There she is. Say hi, Kat.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. We are good.
Sweet.
I'm an idiot. You know what? I will do this. I can send you the links to the articles that I am referencing tonight. Okay, so the first one is from Brandeis University, which the school sounds familiar. I know it's an actual college. And it's the title of the article is Modern Witchcraft, Empowerment, Feminism, and Rituals. And I found it really interesting. And then, a fluff piece from Allure, the magazine.
Oh,
Because,
so what's the topic? I'm sorry.
modern witchcraft.
Okay, good, because I just had a discussion on this with my aunt.
Really?
And
You have mentioned your aunt a number of times in conversations with me. Hey, Ash. I am assuming that your aunt is of the witchy inclination.
Sort of.
Cool.
She's just very cool.
Okay.
I mean, she does like your idea for the business, and thinks that it's a wonder with witchcraft and everything. But she did, because we were talking about my paper, and because of how she sent me some links to look at. So
Cool.
let me just pull them up.
Links are fun.
Yes, let me just pull them up. These are from sources like US Today.
Oh yeah.
No.
Okay. Damn it. I swear to God, I need bifocals or something. Because my glasses are not making the least bit of difference being able to try to read my tablet here. Doesn't that figure? So, we blow the font up a smidge bit. Nope. We're going to open in Chrome. I like that better. Yes, links about your extended warranty are not fun.
Yeah. I wish there was a Okay, sorry. I'm looking at this new evidence, which it was in 2014, the Pew Research Study Center,
Pew.
yes, assisting that 4% of Americans identified as pagan, Wiccan, or New Age.
Yep.
Hmm.
And that was in 14.
Yes.
So 10 years ago, 7%.
Hmm.
So I would say we're up to at least 10% of Americans today, which does not surprise me in the least.
Hmm. Well, I got my, witchy shirt on, so.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean,
Hmm.
paganism is the largest, or no, most rapidly growing
Hmm.
religion because, hello, people are leaving the Abrahamic churches in
Hmm.
droves.
Yeah, and
And
then yeah, I want to point out that following the data, it says and by 2025, 2050, it says the number of Americans practicing other religions, oh my god, I said that, religions outside Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hindu, Buddhism will be triple due to the switching to
yep,
Wicca and paganism.
yep, because, and this is something that I stumbled on this morning,
Hmm.
I think. Might have been last night, within the last 48 hours at any rate. Let me put the glasses back on so I can see you. Um, there is a push
Hmm.
to include religious trauma, if not in the DSM as a diagnosis,
Hmm.
at least as one of the, I want to say it was category Z or something like
Hmm.
that, so that it can be, acknowledged and treated.
Yeah.
Um, because so many of the particularly LGBTQ community
Hmm.
are dealing with religious trauma. And hello, you get so many particularly young boys who grew up in the Roman Catholic Church
Hmm.
who have
Oh yeah.
religious trauma,
Hmm.
and a lot of people who have dealt with religious trauma in the Abrahamic religions have found paganism and have found a new home
Hmm.
because most most pagan faiths and traditions are far more open and accepting for our rainbow family than the Christian Abrahamic faiths have been. So, according to this, I love the opening paragraph of this article, or of this, yeah, article. Witches are often depicted as villains in fairy tales or exorcisers of the satanic occult in scary movies.
Hmm.
Mental note, or side note, witches don't worship Satan. The only faith you will find that actually believes in Satan are Christians. But that's
Hmm.
neither here nor there. But for practitioners of modern witchcraft, it is spiritual, empowering, and magical. Um, the author of this article is Professor Helen A.
Hmm.
Berger. She is a scholar at Brandeis University's Women's Studies Research Center, and she has been researching modern witchcraft literally for decades.
Yeah.
Her definition: witchcraft is the activity of practicing magic. There's usually a spiritual component, but there is a misconception that it is always associated with a religion. Being a witch does not make it, yeah, there is no specific witch or religion associated with witchcraft.
Yeah.
There are rituals, or there are religions that follow a set of rituals and holidays, such as Wicca, but witches are not always religious.
Yeah.
Um, in 86, she started after years of research in 86, she got a call from Boston Public Library asking her to give a series of lectures on witchcraft as part of the Learning Library program through the National Endowment for the Humanities. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, there was almost no research on the topic of modern witchcraft at the time, but she wanted to give it a go. She tried to reach out to practicing witches, but it was incredibly difficult because, well, hello, late 80s, most practicing witches were very deeply into the broom closet
Yeah.
and were not, very willing to come out and talk about it because it was actually pretty dangerous. During the last session of her series, she found a much younger group arrived for the modern witchcraft talk. When one of the audience members asked if there were any practicing witches in the room, a bunch of hands went up. So she had the opportunity to speak with a group of the people who had raised their hands and made plans to interview them. Well, one couple that was in the room that was at her program
Mm-hmm.
was a Wiccan couple who were starting a coven. They invited her to join the coven as a researcher. She went, hell yeah. So she actually, we as pagans today probably owe her a debt of gratitude. Um, she describes basic beliefs and rituals of Wicca. Um, that it is a belief, it is a religion of belief, a less a religion. I can
Mm-hmm.
read. It's less a religion of belief, such as, not we, I am not Christian anymore. The Christian church is more a religion of belief in, God above, whereas the Wiccan belief is more
Mm-hmm.
experience and rituals. Makes sense, right?
Right.
8 major holidays, Sabbats, each normally marked by a ritual. They commemorate the beginning and the height of each season. Again, logic tracks. Oh, let's see. Discussing Samhain. Witches in literature and pop culture have been predominantly depicted as female identifying. Okay. Um I will read what she has here and I will embellish some. So, most of the witches in the Wiccan religion are women.
Mm-hmm.
This is true. Historically, during the witch trials in Europe and in the American colonies, most of those accused of witchcraft were also women. The Hammer of Witches, the 1487 publication that shares instructions for persecuting witches, justified this by stating that women were more likely to be the target of the devil because they were weaker, both spiritually and emotionally. Fairy tales reflect this image in their portrayal of witches. Internationally, men seem to be seen as sorcerers or shamans, fucking white men word, using magical power to help the community. Men help with their magic, while women are connected to the craft in a negative way, using their magic and womanly wiles to, poison the community. Now, particularly in first world nations, there is a positive connection to empowering women with witchcraft. But historically and still internationally, witches were and at times are viewed as evildoers. Most of the time, this boils down to sexism, and that is true.
Mm-hmm.
Um, where was I going to go with that? Shit, I had a thought. I really did. Wise women. That's where I was going. Witches today what we know today historically were witches that were the wise women, the healers. Um, you know, the old woman who lived on the edge of town who had all of the herbs and the folk remedies and that. Those women were known as witches or would be today. And the reason they were women, well, mom does everything.
Hmm.
I mean, straight up. The women were the ones who had that knowledge. We
Yeah.
were the ones who knew which plants were, poisonous. We women were the ones who knew which plants were going to treat that burn or help that upset stomach or, you know, maybe a girl got pregnant and didn't want the baby.
Hmm.
We knew which plants were going to help induce, that miscarriage that she needed. That's why women now, or previously in literature, were depicted as witches because they were the wise women. Historically, births were attended by the wise women. That's where a lot of the witchcraft comes from. And then the next question, when did the term witch shift to become empowering? Witchcraft is not inherently feminist. Witchcraft, as it is seen and talked about in large parts of Africa and Asia, is not feminist. Today, however, for some, not all, but for some, witchcraft is a part of their feminism or quote unquote girl power. We first saw this in the 60s and 70s during the early women's movement. Mary Daly, I need to look her up. You know what? I'm going to highlight that because I meant to pull her up. Oh, hey, that was cool. Mary C. Daly. She died on my birthday. Oh, that sucks balls. Sorry. Was an American radical feminist philosopher and theologian. That is interesting.
Hmm.
Da-da-da. She was 81 years old. She identified herself as post-Christian. Interesting. I want to know more about her, but let's get back to modern witchcraft. Mary Daly was one of the first feminists to reclaim the word witch. I like this. She was very important in this, but not the only one doing so. It is the notion that these words that have been used against women were taken back in and refashioned into something that we could use that would be positive. Similar to the way that the LGBTQ community is retaking the word fag and queer.
Hmm.
An organization which, WITCH, or Women's International Terrorist Conspiracy from Hell, or also referred to Women Inspired to Tell Their Collective History, established in the 60s, a fabulous group of feminist anti-war women. Definitely sounds like a group I would have been involved with despite being a veteran. They were doing a lot of things in which they were bringing out the word witch. They were not practicing Wiccans, but doing political theater in terms of the anti-war movement, civil rights movement, and to some degree the women's movement.
Hmm.
Following Nixon's invasion of Cambodia in 1970, the witch organization publicly put a hex on the president. In more recent events, damn, I wish I'd known about this when it was going on, some witches were putting a binding on the fascist Cheeto when he was president.
Keep it
In
coming.
return, evangelicals who supported him were spiritually attempting to stop the witches. And there were, if not exactly curses, but spells flying back and forth. Because honestly, what are prayers if not spells, and what are spells if not prayers? As modern society evolves and social media becomes a focal point, how are we seeing the next generation of feminists connecting to witchcraft? Two words: witch talk, which you've got to be very careful with.
Mm-hmm.
I know you have some experience with witch talk. What's your experience? Because I'm not on TikTok as much as I would like to be sometimes.
We should
I
trust me.
know.
That's a business discussion.
I know.
I mean, nothing like. I mean, I haven't seen it on my for you page in a while. So I mean, I guess I've they stop. They're probably going to get more because they're going to hear this. Um, Nothing too dramatic. I mean, I really think it's interesting seeing everyone's point of what they do, you know, in their own home. Everyone does it differently. There are some similars. Um, there's a lot of like, oh, if you see this, thing today, like and follow, and good things are gonna happen to you. You know.
See, I have heard, and this is coming almost 30 years of practicing. God, that sounds so crazy to say. It does not feel like it's been 30 years. There is a metric fuck ton of misinformation out on Witch Talk.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to be really careful with who you follow and who you
Mm-hmm.
listen to. And also make sure you double and triple check everything. Which is part of why I have not really delved very deeply into witch talk.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of tarot readers that I follow. Hello, Madam Adam. I absolutely adore Madam Adam. His energy is just adorable. But beyond that, most of my TikTok, when I'm scrolling through TikTok, I have a lot of native talk.
Yeah.
I have a lot of queer talk. I mean, hello, Misha, don't cross a gay man. Oh, I adore Misha. I mean, come on. My three favorite TikTokers are Misha, don't cross a gay man, Gregisms, and the Department of Lost Souls, Gladys. Those are the three that if I'm scrolling through, I will stop and watch the three of them every time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love them. And so none of the three of Madam Adam, but other than him, them, I'm not sure what pronouns Madam Adam uses today. But yeah, I don't see a lot of witchy talk. I do Insta. I have a fair amount of witch Insta. And of course Facebook. That's where most of my witchy stuff is these days. But
Yes, that's kind of where the demographic is.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I know, I know from my household, Facebook is dying amongst the
Mm-hmm.
amongst the younger generation. Except spoonies. Those of us, the spoonies who really only socialize online, they're still very much on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Instagram is fairly popular, I would say, amongst the 30s, 30 to 40s. Facebook is, 40 and up. Instagram is the 30s. And TikTok is the, 16 to 30.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably why I love TikTok because there's some really fascinating information out there, but I don't have enough time and spoons. Sorry. He just spoke very loudly. But okay. Da, 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 da. how are we seeing the next generation? It's already happening through TikTok. There are research articles that discuss TikTok witches, i.e., witch talk. We saw this pick up in practice during the pandemic. This generation is very individualized, and the focus is more on self development. I like this. Most of them are young, between 14 and 16. Psychologists would say that this is the point in your life where you are developing who you are and becoming your own person. So, the fact that, this is where they are, discovering witchcraft is pretty fucking cool, because they're finally being able to branch out and be themselves. Because for centuries, for eons, women have been told to focus on their family. Put, everything but you comes first. And focusing on themselves is a very radical act, and it's so empowering. God, I tell you, it is. That's personal experience talking there. And at the moment, this author, whose name I have already forgotten, holy shit, how did I forget it so quickly? Scrolling until I can find her name again, because she's a really interesting woman. Helen Berger. So at the moment, Professor Berger is studying, because I had to look this up, because I was confused, but it is actually a thing. She is currently working on 2 projects. One is about far-right pagans. I'm going to let that one sink in. Far-right pagans.
Wow. That's actually a thing.
Conservatives. Okay. As most pagans are progressive or middle of the road politically, this group is an anomaly. And then the other project that she is working on, and this is one that I'm interested in, is an interfaith work that pagans are currently doing, which I am guessing would tie into the Christian witches or Jewish witches, which I know a few of those as well. So, that's pretty cool. All right. And then let's go to Allure, which asks, is magic real? We asked real modern witches to debunk magic's biggest misconceptions. All right. Whether you have a favorite TikTok tarot reader or are looking to deepen your practice beyond your horoscope, you may have questions about precisely what it means to be a witch. All right. As practicing witch and Allure's resident astrologer, I did not realize that Allure's astrologer was a witch. That's kind of cool. Okay. Yes, astrology and witchcraft usually go hand in hand, but not always. And more often than not, when a publication has an astrologer on staff, they are not a practicing witch. So, as a practicing witch and Allure's resident astrologer, it is vital to me to get the record straight about witches who historically have always been badasses. I like that. While unfortunately Voodoo Queen Marie Laveau is no longer living, there are plenty of witches still alive today who are down to talk about the craft. Ooh, there's a book mentioned. Ooh. Joan Wright, the first woman charged with being a witch in North America, is one of her favorite witches of all time. Nice. God, go away. No. Somehow I accidentally clicked on freaking Condé Nast's privacy policy. Okay. The witch is a healer capable of great power, and incredible forgiveness.
Mhm.
Society's fear of their power is deep rooted. In medieval England, people associated makeup with Satan, and there are popular myths about the government outlawing lipstick to combat witchcraft in England. Why is my first thought Elton John?
Oh,
It shouldn't be, but it was. The connection. You are really driving me nuts, Allure. And it just scrolled me back up to the top of the page. Okay. The connection between cosmetics, perceived evil, and witchcraft is apparently not unusual. Interesting. Witches have been paying the price for enjoying life, be it by dancing naked or wearing lipstick, for far too long. That I will not disagree with. The Hood Witch website. I want to check that one out. But it's only 10 years old. All right. Did you know that a person of any gender can be a witch, and the whole black magic versus white magic thing is racist? I did know that one. Yes, baby
mhm.
girl. Okay, Mama, open the door and let you out. You gotta move to Big Butt so I can get to the door. And quit whipping me with your tail. Thank you. Good girlie. Out you go. Run, romp, frolic, be free. Oh, your baby cats. Gotta pet the cat. Okay. But yes, I did know that the black magic thing was a racist thing. I remember reading about it just within the last week or so. So, witches are people who practice magic. Magic, as practiced by a witch, is spelled with a K to differentiate it from stage magic, such as, David Copperfield or what's his name that I now can't remember, who is an asshole, but his magic is absolutely fascinating. I can see his face. It'll come to me later. So, the practice of magic is raising and directing energy intention to fulfill your intentions. All right. Have you ever had a vivid dream about someone only for them to text you the very next day? It is very possible that your psychic intuition was burning bright.
Yep.
Do, do, do.
I'm waiting for the dreams where I win big money to happen in real life.
My friend, it never fails. And watch, because I'm doing this, she'll text or call me. Ashley, it never fails. I will talk about her, and then either that night or the next day, I'll get a text or a call from her because she's just like that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely love her, though. She's one of my nearest and dearest.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're overwhelmed and stressed. What do? You run yourself a bath, throw in some soothing bath salts, maybe a bubble bath, light some candles, right? You just did a self-love spell. Podcast. Sorry. We woke him up. So, hey Dad, grabbing the mouse is not going to scroll. Manifestation. That, the book The Secret is all about manifestation. So, while some Wiccan groups or other spiritual groups have initiation rites, most witches don't.
Yeah.
All you need to become a witch is intention.
Mm-hmm.
Many practicing witches just have talked about a lifelong connection to nature,
Yeah.
um, a distinct intuition, or a gift, like a psychic type of gift, whether they call it psychic powers or not, um, or maybe just an obsession almost with the moon and stars. Pagan practices tend to be rooted in nature and community. A sensitive. Yes. Okay. One ordained minister, Reiki master, and tarot reader says, I've always been in my own world all the time, quote unquote, too sensitive, and just know
Yeah.
things. Sound familiar?
Oh yeah. No, definitely.
Yep. Well, I've told my story about how I set my feet on the pagan path.
Hmm.
I've always believed that, yes, heaven, hell, or other um, places we go once we die, but I also believe that there is such a thing as reincarnation. I guess that's where I agree with the Hindus
Hmm.
that, you keep reincarnating until you learn the lesson you're supposed to learn. And once you finally get it right,
Hmm.
then you get to move on to
Yeah.
eternity.
Yeah. No. I mean, my mother has always believed that her mother came back as an bald eagle. And it's interesting because during certain events in my life, I have noticed certain a bald, eagle, and I've noticed a bald eagle nearby.
Yep.
Just recently, I switched cars, so I had to drive, my dad's truck, and like I saw a bald eagle like coming down the hill, and it immediately reminded me, oh my god, I forgot the store keys. You know, and I'm just like, thank you, grandma.
Yep. Yep. Oh,
So,
yeah. I definitely believe
mhm,
in messages from the other side too.
mhm,
I, I, I can't do Ouija boards.
you know,
I have tried to use a
mhm,
Ouija board a couple of times. And
mhm,
yeah, I can sit there and have my hands on it
mhm.
and use it, but as soon as my hands come off and I'm done with it, clunk, I'm out cold.
Ooh,
It's weird.
okay,
It's
I
kind of
kind of
like
want to
when I
see
use
that.
my pendulum.
Kind of want to see that, but you know,
Yeah, I did. It's just they take too much energy out of me.
mhm,
This you've got to see how big the font is on this because it's
mhm,
hilarious. You think they're trying to emphasize this a little bit,
yeah,
and I definitely ensure. And I wish he were still able to see this. We're missing our viewer. Um, ensure that you are always practicing culture appreciation, not appropriation in your
mhm,
craft. And the reason I reference my ex, he is native. His father, tribal elder, medicine man. So, he knows the native practices. And I have incorporated a number of native practices into mine,
mhm,
which I'm grateful that my current husband also has the native blood
mhm.
because I occasionally feel very torn
Here,
because, I have had these practices for ages,
mhm,
having been married to a native
mhm,
person, because to my knowledge, I don't have any native blood. But then again, my ex father in law did once tell me I was more native than his son was.
mhm.
So I've definitely got the appreciation there, but
Yeah,
I worry. And I try
mhm,
very hard to make sure that I am not, as a lily white bitch,
yeah,
appropriating a
mhm,
culture that is not mine.
yeah.
I
No,
worry a lot.
yeah, that I understand too. It's like, I mean, considering so when I like me and Bigfoot, so the whole
Yes.
Sasquatch phenomenon. It's interesting because like there's a lot of native components to it, and like
Oh, yeah.
you think of it as, and I think of it as anthropology. Now, one of the main big researchers in the Bigfoot field, Kathy Strang, who I met, she's an anthropologist. She works with um, tribes in California. She's one of the only few white people to actually go and see Sasquatch. Hieroglyphs. Yeah, that
Hieroglyphs?
yeah, yeah, that. So she's she has inspired me to really like be just studying different all the like every single tribe basically has a story evolving around a big hairy man, whether it's a good omen, a bad omen.
Yep.
The chair, the Cherokee, not Cherokee, the Choctaw, sorry,
Yep.
which is the tribe that my family is a descendant from, has a
Yep.
story called "The Woman in White." And my dad loves it because he thinks like a woman in white, every year comes to help, with food and stuff. It's a long story. I'm not going to get into it. But he's like, that's my Mika. It's my Mika. That's my dad. Sorry, I'm in the podcast.
Oh.
What?
Which reminds me, QR codes. Ah, I changed it.
Sorry, I'm back.
It's okay. Oh, believe me.
See, talking, yeah. Manifesting, talking about my dad, and then he leaves the door open. Now he's
See,
closing it.
Native folklore
Mm-hmm.
is another topic altogether that I want to discuss in here one of these nights
Mm-hmm.
because even prior to marrying my ex or
Mm-hmm.
getting together with him, I have been, and this is probably why my ex's dad said what he did. I have been absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I just love it.
I have been absolutely fascinated with Native
Mm-hmm.
culture
Mm-hmm.
because it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And the cryptids and just all of it. Ah, I mean, there's so.
Hey, you know what you would love if you financially can come to the
Uh huh.
Fork Sasquatch Festival with me.
Uh huh. But yeah.
Um, yeah, no, the speaker this year, I met him a couple times. I love him. He's part of the First Nation Taka Ewok tribe. I probably pronounced it really wrong. Up in Vancouver Island, and so
Vancouver Island,
he,
BC?
huh? Yeah,
Vancouver Island, BC?
yes, and
That's
but
where the
he lived.
temperamental chuckle fuck is, too.
Yeah,
More
yeah.
incentive.
hmm And so he lives in Kent, and so he's hosting this year, which is nice
Cool.
because that festival is mostly heavily um native involved because of the Quinault Reservation, which is
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and don't want to mention Twilight, but a lot. We actually spoke to people who were living on the reservation and how, oh yeah, no, my uncle saw one, and they're telling us all these stories, and we actually
Yeah.
met someone there who had the same encounter in the same area that we did.
Yep.
So it's so fascinating.
There is
um
so much out
mhm.
there that white people don't understand.
And it's so all connected.
Yes. As my darling
hmm
husband likes to say, it's all the same. It's
hmm
all connected. So, yeah. Okay, and then some witches work best
hmm
in covens or a group of witches that meets regularly.
hmm
Covens can be traditional with 13 members and a highly organized initiation process, which to me just screams church.
Cult.
Uh huh. Or It can be more laid back and designed by you and your witchy friends.
Like the witchy meetups, that you're gonna start getting. We're gonna get started, or you're gonna. So I like that idea because it really brings people in the community, especially north, in area that trust me when you go to Bellingham, there is an witchy aura around the place.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, there's I went into a witch shop like a couple times, and it's so you just feel it, like in the people, in the and I can see why that aura is drawn to the area, because you have the mount. As me personally, I won't identify as pagan. I'm just all into the whole spiritual. Nature is everything. I feel at home here in the Pacific Northwest.
Yep.
With the water and the mountains and stuff, and I just think that's
the
a perfect
Pacific
location.
Northwest is the perfect place to be pagan because,
Mm-hmm.
especially here where we are, because we're what,
Yeah.
2 hours from the ocean.
Yes.
I am sitting 30 minutes from Snoqualmie Pass on a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
I have forest area
Mm-hmm.
within walking distance.
You're gonna get elk in your backyard regularly.
Yeah, bunnies, elk, coyotes, bears,
Mm-hmm.
wildlife in general. We had a bobcat not too long ago. So,
No, the cougars are coming down.
yep.
I have
So
cameras.
we live
Mm-hmm.
in the four elements are literally right here in my
Mm-hmm.
backyard.
Yeah.
And I love that about being in the Pacific Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
The only other place, well, really, I've only lived one other place, and it has been equally homey,
Mm-hmm.
is Southern California.
Okay.
There have been 2 places in San Diego that I
Mm-hmm.
just Sunset Cliffs
Yeah.
and one of the um missions. And
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't actually at the mission itself, it was near one of the old missions. But it was an equally powerful place.
Yeah.
But
Um. Yeah. No, I completely understand. I mean, one of the places that I really need. I'm just gonna live there. Like, when I get my feet together, I'm gonna move to that town. It's Crestone, Colorado. And I think and it's the center of the universe.
yes.
They actually have festivals. They have all different types of religions actually come together, coexist. Different temples. And it's very small town. It's I mean they just got a Dollar General like a couple years ago,
What's the name of the town in
and
Colorado?
Crestone.
I want to say
Um, yeah,
that is in the vicinity of where my uncle and cousin live.
where
I can't remember the name of the town that the Chandlers live though.
there's Alamosa. There's that's the only big town that's close to it. And then there's Salida, which is the big ski town.
Yeah. I want to say my cousin was working at the ski
Mm-hmm.
resort, at a ski resort.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know they're in Colorado area, or were.
Yeah, no.
I have no idea.
Yeah, no. My great aunt, who is like me in a way, really loves the spiritual anthropology of everything, and like her house is there. I mean, she had to move because of she's in her 80s and the high altitude wasn't good for her.
Well, yeah.
Um, but no, it's a she the one of the the most. It's just so. I mean, it's a unique town, and you feel it. Just by walking outside, you just feel that energy, and I haven't really felt anything close to it. You know, I mean, occasionally, like I know a couple places here in Washington, but like nothing that extreme.
You do know that one of my favorite teachers, he was
Mhm.
my high school, he was my junior and senior English teacher.
Mhm.
How he became an English teacher, I have no idea,
Mhm.
because he was a cultural anthropologist.
Yeah.
If you search him on the internet, you will find his
Mhm.
anthropology papers.
Mhm.
And he ended up one of my favorite teachers ever.
Yeah.
And I remember clearly my sophomore year, the end of my sophomore
Mhm.
year, one of the trumpet players in band, yes, that one,
Mhm.
um, we were discussing whose classes I was in the next year, and I mentioned I had
Mhm.
him. And the
Mhm.
trumpet player looked at me and he's like, okay, one of two things. You're going to hate him at the beginning of the
Yeah.
year. By the end of the year, though, one of two things is going to happen. He's either going to be your favorite teacher or you're still going to hate him even worse.
Yeah.
So, senior year is going to be make or break. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, why do you say that? And he's like, you just have to experience it. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay. And he was right. Junior year came. I got injured. Okay, two
Mhm.
things happened junior year. We went to the 90-minute blocks. So we were covering an entire year's worth of work in one
Mhm.
semester. So 2
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah.
I got injured early in the year and missed a
Mhm.
week and a half of school because I was in a cast and had to use a wheelchair.
Oh,
Fractured four
lovely.
bones, fractured the other ankle. Could not
Oh
do
my
crutches
goodness.
that way. Nope. So the decision was made. I could not go to school.
Mhm.
So I ended up missing a fair amount.
Mhm.
And this very definitely adversely affected my grade, especially in
Oh yeah.
English. And because I was in college prep classes, I had to have my teacher's permission to move on to the college prep senior classes.
Okay.
And so at the end of the year, I approached Mr. McComb and I'm like, Mr. McComb, I want to take English prep 4 or college prep
Mhm.
4. He looked at me, and I didn't know this at the time, but my grade was still an incomplete. An
Mhm.
incomplete is supposed to be automatically converted to an F
Yeah.
after 6 weeks.
Mhm.
I graduated with an incomplete from that. He never
Mhm.
converted it.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So he looked at me and he's like, you going to do better next year? As
Mhm.
long as I don't get injured, that's my plan.
Yeah.
Okay. He signed off.
Mhm.
And I ended up, as I just said, he ended up being one of my favorite teachers.
Yeah.
I loved him. He
Mhm.
pushed, but he was not cruel about it, at least not to me.
Yeah.
And I loved that about him.
Mhm.
He treated us like college students. He's also the one, and I know I have completely tangented it, but he is also the teacher that I had him like second period.
Mhm.
There had been over the weekend some abortion protesters outside of Dairy Queen,
Mhm.
and I had gotten annoyed.
Sounds like a weird place, but
I don't know why they were outside Dairy Queen. I don't know why they were. We didn't have an abortion clinic in Woodburn. So, but there was
Mhm.
a family there with a kid who was like 2 in a stroller holding up the sign that said abortion is murder. I
I don't
have
think that kid can comprehend what murder is.
I have zero issue with adults and
Mhm.
teenagers protesting abortion. No problem with that. They know what they're talking about. A child in a stroller doesn't know what abortion is, doesn't know what murder is, doesn't know what any of it is. That I took issue with.
Mhm.
And I mentioned this in class. I should not have mentioned this in class
Mhm.
because one of my classmates, I remember who it was today. I don't know if she remembers this. She took issue with me taking issue with a toddler. Of, you know,
Mhm.
so Mr. McComb decided, okay, we're going to do this. Pro choice on this side of the room, pro life on that side of the room. We're going to debate.
Mhm.
We started debating, and he's like, okay, if you change your mind about which side you are on during this debate, please feel free to get up and move.
Mhm.
Her two best friends got up and moved to my side of the room after I stated my case.
Mhm.
She
Yeah.
has never forgiven me.
Mhm.
But these are the sorts of things that he would do in class.
Yeah.
Cultural anthropologist.
Mhm.
And I did not know that he was an anthropologist
Yeah.
until like the end of the year that year.
Mhm.
But we watched The Prisoner. He is the one that introduced me to Joseph Campbell.
Mhm.
Um, God, so much of I wish I could remember some of the other stuff by title, but some of the things that he used in our class that he tied in as English
Yeah.
were actually anthropology things.
Yeah.
And it was just
Mhm.
I loved it because I am a naturally curious person. I love to learn. Give
Mhm.
me, yes, he was very much like Bresson, dear.
Mhm.
Um, give me a subject that catches my interest, and
Mhm.
I'm down the rabbit hole for hours.
Okay.
I've got a few things right now that I've got like five tabs on my browser up on because I want to know. My
Yeah.
doctor that I had today.
Mhm.
I mean, I am trying very hard to respect his privacy,
Mhm.
but his dad
Mhm.
is quite well known in the United States,
Yep.
possibly worldwide. He is top level athlete, or he was.
Yeah.
He is extremely well known. He was on one of the, I'm not giving names, he was on one of the best teams in the country for a long time. And, I want to know because I want to know
Yeah.
about his life and what it was like for him
Yeah.
growing up with the access that he had to the people he did.
Yeah.
And then why, where he had
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
life that he did, what brought him here?
Yeah.
What led
Like,
him
yeah.
to the field he is in?
Mhm.
I mean, yes, medicine makes sense,
Mhm.
but why the specialty he's in?
Yeah.
Because, and why here? Why this little bitty town in Washington? Probably because he doesn't want to be known as his father's son.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just, so much. There's just so much fascinating stuff in the world. Bigfoot, chupacabras, um, a couple of other cryptids that I don't dare name because, just speaking their name out loud attracts their attention. There is a ranch down in Arizona. That
Oh,
one, yes.
I gotta tell you that. I gotta tell you my
Yeah, we'll
uh.
we'll discuss that
This,
later. But I mean,
it was creepy.
creepy is fun. There's just so
Like
much out there in the
I didn't
supernatural.
experience it, but I was in the trailer and my sister and dad were there, and they came back. They're like, that kid's whack.
But
Like,
there's so much stuff out
mhm.
there that is unexplainable,
Mhm.
but yet explainable at the same time.
Mhm.
UFOs. Oh, the fact that the government is now admitting that UFOs exist. Just
I know.
and the fact that it's Navy pilots that are really talking about it. Just go Navy.
Yeah.
But modern witchcraft is much more than the pointy hats and green skin.
Yeah.
And the green skin is goes back to the fucking witch trials in Salem,
Hmm.
and the
Yeah.
fact that the reason they had green skin was because they were drugged through town or wheeled through town in wagons after having spent the night having the shit beat out of them.
Yeah.
So their skin was green and blue and purple because they were bruised.
Yeah.
And just I can this is
Well, we
one of
can
my
get
subjects that I
into
can geek out on for hours.
Yeah. No, we can. Yeah. Next we can do witches in pop culture.
Yes. Ooh, Glinda, and well, we now know her as Elphaba.
Yep.
I came up with her name. Glinda and Elphaba. Everybody knows them.
Hmm.
Um, the Charmed Sisters, the Halliwells.
Hmm.
There is a reboot of that. I don't know if there are also Halliwells.
No,
I
don't get
haven't
me started.
watched it. I couldn't because
I watched the first season. I'm not a big fan of it.
and then there is the witches from the movie The Craft. Did you know that
Hmm.
True has the black girl?
Hmm.
She is a witch,
Hmm.
and she has her own tarot deck. Has
Yeah.
been a practicing tarot reader since before she did The Craft.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, yes, I want to do witches in
Yeah.
pop culture too.
Like even Marvel's starting to get into it with
The Scarlet Witch with
Scarlet
Elizabeth
Witch.
Olsen.
No, what's her? Mad. Oh my god, I know her character.
I smell children. Hocus pocus.
No.
I know, but give me the actress.
I know. No, it's it's in the she was in the Scarlet Witch show. The main villain.
And villain in the Scarlet Witch. Ooh, that one I haven't watched the Scarlet Witch.
I want to say it's Madam something.
Oh, hold on. All
I'll
right,
Google it.
Marvel. How much you want to bet these?
Agatha. Agatha.
Oh yes, I am
Because
somewhat
it was
familiar with
Agatha.
her.
Yeah. So they're gonna, she's gonna get her own show.
I heard
You
that.
know,
Agatha's Dark Cult
Marvel's.
Diaries.
Yeah, and I know there's like a Prime show
Agatha
about
Harkness.
like, yeah.
Oh yeah, because witches are becoming popular again.
Yeah. And I know that there's a Prime show where like, yeah, Motherland, where like basically witches become like the new like veterans of America.
Motherland Fort Salem.
Yeah.
Ooh. 3 seasons? How
Yeah.
did I not know about this one? Oh, it's on Freeform.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Nice.
Yeah, it's a woman-dominated world in which the U.S. Ended.
Witchcraft shows. Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh. Mayfair Witches. I want to see the Mayfair Witches. Well, hello, baby girl.
Mm-hmm.
The Mayfair Witches is Anne Rice. I tried to get
Mm-hmm.
into the series, but I could
Mm-hmm.
not get into reading it, no matter how much I tried. And I generally
Mm-hmm.
like Anne Rice.
Yeah.
The Magicians was a fun show. Let's see. What is? Oh, Salem. I don't know Salem. Go away.
Don't even get me started on Once Upon a Time.
Once Upon a Time was so much fun.
Ooh,
Sanctuary, A Witch's Tale. Oh yeah,
yeah, and like
comedies
even
about
like
witchcraft. Good
even like
Omens. I desperately need to watch Good Omens because it is by our god Neil Gaiman. He is so awesome. Neil Gaiman. Okay. Neil Gaiman is one. This kid, and I say kid because they were a college student, wrote to Neil Gaiman on Tumblr or whatnot, saying, "Hey, my college professor is a stickler about not referring to the author of a book you are reviewing by name as if you are friends with them, because you're not. So, hey, I'm writing you to say, hey, can we be friends? Because I'm reviewing your book for my college paper, and it's this book that you wrote, and he's writing about it, and Neil comes back to him. Sure, we're friends. Do it. So, and Neil Gaiman is well known on Tumblr for interacting with his fans, and he is just such a truly nice guy. I do remember about 20 years ago hearing something about him being problematic, but I cannot remember what.
Yeah.
So I need to look that back up. Another show that was about witchcraft. And it's based on a trilogy of novels that ironically the author wrote another one about. And the trilogy is a discovery of witches. And it's the story of a young woman who is, I want to say, at Oxford. She's at one of the colleges in England. The All Souls trilogy.
Yeah.
She finds a bewitched manuscript in the Bodleian Library. But it does not tell me which freaking college that is at. Anyway, she is a professor at the school. And she's a witch. But because her parents, who were also witches, were tortured and murdered because of the fact they were witches, she has decided she is never going to use her magic. So she has done everything in her power, no pun intended, to shove her powers down.
Yeah.
Until she stumbles across this book. Because this book has been missing for centuries. And it's an amazing series of books. Amusingly, I came across this.
Yeah.
This, because the other main character that Diana, oddly enough, marries is a vampire. This book is about his son, not biological. He changes him. But this is about Matthew's son and his life. So I am looking forward to reading that one. But the Discovery of Witches, and it's currently, I think it is only the 3 seasons because it is the 3 books. But everything I have read or everything I have seen of it so far is wonderful. The originals, The Good Witch with oh god, what's her name? Catherine Bell. I fell in love with Catherine Bell when she was on Jag. Oh god, apparently witches are very popular in K-dramas. So yeah, witches are experiencing a resurgence in popularity. Sabrina. The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Mhm.
has is a big one.
Don't
But
even get me started on Supernatural.
well, yeah, uh-huh. I loved Supernatural in
Mhm.
its first couple of seasons when it was the monster of the week,
Mhm.
and then it got uber Christian on us, which kind of made
Well,
me
that's the
sad.
thing. Is that, like I said, you would love it.
I know, and I really I want to get back to watching it,
Because,
but yeah.
because,
I loved it
I
when it was
love
the
the end.
monster of the week.
And,
Um,
alright. I have to go and get dinner
yep,
started.
well, it's
'Cause,
quarter we've been going for an hour and 15, which was longer than I meant to,
yeah.
but again, it's
Mhm.
one of my pet topics that I will geek the fuck out on for hours.
Yeah.
So, I will bid all of you a fond farewell. I will see you guys tomorrow with our meditation. And I am going to go finish the two drinks of my coffee
Mhm.
and check in with Warren because I haven't filled him in on my doctor's appointment.
Ooh, fun.
So I will see everybody
Alright.
tomorrow. Have a fantabulous, wonderful, magical evening, and I love you all. Good night.
Night.